Have you ever had the feeling that you are doing everything right, trying hard, running after it, praying, fighting, but still, things just don't work out? Nothing flows, nothing works out, and no matter how hard you try, it seems like there is an invisible block, as if something is holding you back, preventing you from prospering. It's as if the paths are locked, closed, and you can't find the key. You know what I'm talking about, right? That phase of life when everything gets stuck. Money doesn't make any money, health doesn't improve, relationships wear out, motivation disappears, and you start to wonder, what's happening to me? If you're going through this right now, or have already gone through it, leave your comment here. Write, I feel this, or my paths are blocked. Let's read each one and pray for everyone. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, take the opportunity to subscribe right now, activate the bell, because here we delve deep into this spiritual universe, talking about truths that many prefer to ignore, but that have transformed lives. It is very important that you follow through to the end, because we will reveal what is behind these blockages and what you can do to turn this spiritual key. Now let me tell you something. Most people believe that everything that happens in life is just the result of their actions on the physical plane, but there is an invisible, real, active, powerful world that is behind everything we experience here. And when you ignore this spiritual world, you become vulnerable to influences that go beyond logic, influences that surround you, drain you, trap you and confuse you. Closed paths are not always just a lack of effort, lack of opportunity, or bad luck. Many times, they are clear signs of an energetic blockage, of spiritual interference, of something that is being moved in the invisible world without you realizing it. And don't think that this only happens to those who are far from faith. No, there are many people of prayer, people of faith, who are facing this type of spiritual battle. Sometimes the envy of someone close to you, the evil eye, a word thrown in a moment of anger, or even an object with charged energy inside your home can be closing the doors. It's hard to hear this, but it's true, and until you identify the source, clear the path, and protect yourself spiritually, it's like walking in circles. You even move, but you don't move forward. And this stagnation generates pain, fatigue, anxiety, and a feeling of failure. But let me remind you, you are not alone. There is a purpose for all of this, and there is a way out. Have you ever stopped to think about why, all of a sudden, everything started to go wrong? Sometimes all it takes is a visit from someone with unbalanced energy, a fight at home, a negative thought fed on for a day, and voila, the energy in your home changes, your vibration lowers, and blockages begin to appear. When the paths are spiritually closed, it's as if there were an invisible fog around you. You can't see clearly. You don't feel peace. Everything becomes heavy. Even getting out of bed becomes difficult. And the worst part is that often the person doesn't even know that they are facing a spiritual blockage. They go to the doctor, the psychologist, try to change jobs, cities, relationships, but nothing changes because the root of the problem is not in the physical world, but in the spiritual. And it is no coincidence that you have come this far. This message is coming to you as a warning, as a calling. Maybe this is the answer you have been praying for. Maybe God is using this moment to awaken you. You need to understand that there is a pattern. The signs are there. What you need now is spiritual discernment to identify what is holding you back in life and conscious attitudes to break through it. And I will guide you on this journey. Let's identify these blockages together and learn how to break them with faith, prayer, energetic cleansing, and spiritual firmness. But before we continue, take a deep breath now. Feel it. How is your energy right now? Is your house light or heavy? Is your heart calm or anxious? Are your thoughts clear or confused? Is your body resting well, or have you been waking up even more tired? These are important clues. Pay attention to what your own energy field is trying to show you. Because everything that is blocked in your external life first starts inside you and in your spiritual field. And that is where we will act. Maybe you are living with people who, even unintentionally, are draining your energy. Maybe you are surrounded by spiritually charged environments that are stealing your life force. Maybe you are maintaining habits that are weakening your spiritual protection. All of this may seem small, but it is exactly these details that added together block your prosperity, your health, your peace. Have you ever heard someone say that the energy of the environment can kill dreams? Well, it can. And it can also heal, restore, open doors. So if you feel that something is blocking you, do not ignore this call. And look, if you know someone who is going through this, someone who does not understand why life seems to be at a standstill, share this video. It may be exactly what this person needs to free themselves. Do not keep this knowledge to yourself, because when we share the light, we multiply the protection, and the world needs more light, more truth, more spiritually awakened people. Now that we have begun to understand the spiritual causes behind closed paths, let's dive deeper into this journey. We will reveal the hidden signs, the mistakes that block your life without you realizing it, and the spiritual actions you need to take starting today. Stay with me, because the next part will show you exactly what may be holding your life back without you realizing it. And remember, faith, action, and knowledge together have the power to transform everything. And when we talk about closed paths, often what is behind it is not visible to the eye. It may seem like just a run of bad luck, a bad phase, a sequence of problems, but there is something much deeper going on. The spiritual world is not made only of light. Just as there are forces that protect us, there are also forces that try to hold us back. Many times, the blocks we face in life, whether financial, emotional, professional, or even health-related, have an energetic or spiritual root. And the most dangerous thing is when the person doesn't realize this and continues to insist using only human means without addressing the invisible root of the problem. It's like trying to dry the floor while the tap is still running. You get tired, worn out, and can't move forward. You know that tiredness that won't go away, that feeling of fighting against something you can't see, that pressure in your chest, the insomnia, the constant delays, the unexpected events that seem to come out of nowhere. All of this can be a reflection of dense energy accumulated around you or inside your home. Often these energies come from places we frequent, from envious people who surround us, from negative words thrown at us, or even from our own inner vibration when we are emotionally hurt or discouraged. That's when paths close, opportunities disappear, doors that were opening close, and the feeling of helplessness begins to take over. It's something that few people talk about, but it's essential. What's blocking your life isn't always envy of others. Sometimes what is holding you back is something that you are nurturing yourself. Resentment, bitterness, lack of forgiveness, pride, constant negative thoughts. These emotions and attitudes create spiritual blocks that impede the flow of divine energy in our lives. It is as if you were trying to walk with chains attached to your feet. That is why self-knowledge and spiritual vigilance are so important. You need to ask yourself, what have I been cultivating within myself? What kind of energy am I attracting? And now you may be asking yourself, okay, but how do I find out if my paths are really closed for a spiritual reason? There are signs that the spiritual world sends all the time, but that many people ignore. Recurring and inexplicable difficulties in all areas of life, disturbing dreams, a constant feeling of stagnation. Everything starts out well, but soon goes wrong. People move away for no reason. Fights arise out of nowhere. The mind cannot concentrate. A feeling of heaviness on your shoulders, as if something were pulling you down. All of this could indicate that there is a negative spiritual action acting on your life, and you don't need to see spirits or hear voices to notice these things. Energy can be felt. It manifests itself in the body, in your emotions, in your routine, and the more you ignore it, the stronger it becomes. That's why it's essential that you learn to cleanse and protect your life spiritually. And here, I tell you with all conviction, you don't need to do anything crazy or dangerous. There are safe, sacred, natural ways to cleanse these energies, ways that involve prayer, fasting, herbal baths, incense, psalms, faith, and vigilance. And I'm going to teach you how to do this, step by step. But first, answer me. Do you feel like something is draining your energy? That it's hard to get out of your rut? Then comment below, I need to unblock my paths. Because just by writing this, you're already taking the first step. You are telling the universe that you want change, that you are ready to break out of the cycle of blockage and enter a new era. And remember, the spiritual world responds to movement. When you take a step with faith, the heavens move. Now, let's talk about the environment where you live. Your home may be spiritually charged, and you may not even realize it. Inherited objects, memories of old relationships, clothes worn by negative people, all of these can serve as anchor points for dense energies. And no, it's not superstition. Energy accumulates in everything, in furniture, walls, objects, clothes. That's why it's so important to do regular spiritual cleansing. Light incense, say a prayer with faith, use herbs like rue, rosemary, and guinea to purify spaces. All of these are simple but powerful ways to restore lightness and allow your paths to open up again. And don't think that only big places or dramatic events attract bad energy. Sometimes a simple comment filled with envy is enough to plant a negative seed in your path. Therefore, spiritual protection needs to be daily. Just as you brush your teeth every day, you also need to take care of your energy every day. Pray when you wake up. Ask God for discernment. Anoint your head with consecrated oil and keep thoughts of gratitude. All of this creates a field of light around you and prevents darkness from approaching. Have you ever noticed how people come into your home and seem to leave the atmosphere heavy? Or that after a certain person visits, things start to go wrong? This is no coincidence. These are spiritual interferences that can be intentional or not. Sometimes the person themselves is burdened and without knowing it leaves that weight there. Therefore, learn to shield your space with prayers, psalms, holy water, or even with a simple candle lit with the intention of peace. Spirituality is not just theory, it is practice, it is action. And now tell me, are you ready to change this reality? Are you willing to take spiritual actions that will restore balance to your life? So stay with me, because in the next step of our itinerary, I will teach you exactly what to do to clear these blockages, which prayers to use, which herbs to apply, which habits to adopt to keep your energy protected and your paths open. But before continuing, leave your comment here. Write something like this: I no longer accept closed paths in my life. This helps to strengthen your intention and shows the universe and yourself that your process of liberation has already begun. And take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is very important so that we can continue together on this spiritual journey, exploring the mysteries, breaking down blockages, and opening new horizons with faith, knowledge, and purpose. Leave your like so that this message reaches more people who need to awaken. Share this video with someone who is going through a difficult time, someone you know needs spiritual help. Together, we can form a chain of light that transforms lives. And now let's move on to the next part, where I will show you the complete ritual to open spiritual paths. Don't leave it there. And when we start to notice that everything is stuck, that no matter how much we fight, try, in every way something invisible seems to hold us back, stagnate, or block the progress of our lives. That's when we need to stop and think deeply. Are we really facing a common problem, or is there something bigger, something more subtle and spiritual interfering in our path? Because often what seems like bad luck, what seems like just a bad phase, is actually a clear sign that something needs to be addressed on the spiritual plane. And that's what I want to talk to you about now. About the true spiritual causes behind so many closed paths and what we can do to change this reality. There are spiritual forces that act around us, whether we believe it or not. And when these paths close, it's often because our energy field has been hit by something we can't see, but that we feel deeply. Have you ever wondered why certain areas of your life seem to get stuck over and over again? Why relationships don't move forward, finances stagnate, opportunities disappear out of nowhere? In many of these cases, what is at stake is not just the physical world. There is a tangle of vibrations, dense energies, and spiritual obstacles that act as a kind of invisible handcuff, trapping the person's life in repetitive cycles of pain, frustration, and failure. Sometimes it all starts with disguised envy, a heavy gaze that you didn't even notice. Other times it is the environment where you live, which has absorbed so much negativity that it has become a field of spiritual blockage. Have you ever had the feeling that your home is consuming you? That when you enter it, it seems like your spirits are gone, that ideas don't flow, that the weight of the day only increases? This is a sign. And when the soul begins to feel these burdens, the person begins to drag emotionally, loses vitality, and even illnesses begin to appear in the body as a reflection of this energetic imbalance. And this is where the importance of looking at all of this with spiritual eyes comes in. Because sometimes what is preventing you from prospering is not a lack of effort, but a spiritual bond that needs to be undone with wisdom, prayer, and the right direction. And do you know what is most common in these cases? The person has already done everything in the material world, consulted professionals, moved house, changed jobs, but nothing seems to solve the problem. Because the root of the problem is in a plane that they have not yet accessed. And what can cause these spiritual blockages? There are many possible causes. One of them is the accumulation of negative energy in the person's auric field. This can come from unresolved emotions, traumas, resentments, hurts that have become knots in the soul. There are also cases of spiritual attacks, such as the famous evil eye, low vibration energies launched against someone out of envy or a desire for the person not to prosper. There are also spiritually charged homes, the energetic bonds we maintain with negative people, and even the presence of spiritual entities that connect to us through emotional and spiritual gaps. Now I ask you in all sincerity, have you been observing your own energy field? Have you noticed warning signs in your daily life? Because when the paths are spiritually closed, it is as if life stops in every way. Doors do not open, dreams become distant, and even small joys disappear. And this is no coincidence. It is a reflection of a soul crying out for help. And ignoring this call only deepens the feeling of being lost even more. But the good news is that all of this can be treated. Yes, there are spiritual paths to open the paths of life, but you need to act with faith and awareness. The first step is to do an honest self-evaluation. What am I carrying inside me? What pains, resentments, or traumas have I not yet released? Because many times, we are the ones who feed these invisible currents with repetitive thoughts of fear, anger, and scarcity. Thoughts are also energy, and they shape our vibrational field. If you feed the negative, it is the negative that will surround you. Then it is time to clean the field. Herbal baths, powerful prayers, spiritual purification rituals, smudging, and reconsecration of the environment are all part of this process. Have you ever taken a deep cleansing bath? Have you ever lit a candle for spiritual liberation? Have you ever read Psalm 91 or asked for the protection of St. Michael the Archangel with faith and intention? These are simple practices, but they have immense transformative power when done with truth. And most importantly, have you surrounded yourself with people who elevate your energy or who drag you down? Because paths also close when we insist on maintaining ties with those who do not want our growth. Sometimes the blocked energy is in that old friendship, in that toxic relationship, in that conversation that only brings us weight. And it takes spiritual courage to break with what takes you away from the light. Therefore, I invite you now to reflect on this sincerely. Is there an area of your life that is blocked? Something that you feel is stuck and you cannot move forward? If so, now is the time to take action. Don't put it off, because the more time passes, the harder it is to undo what has been accumulating. And the universe responds to your actions. When you decide to act spiritually, everything around you begins to respond. And for those of you who have been listening to me up to this point, I want to leave you with some special spiritual guidance in the next section. But first, leave a comment below. I will free my paths. Write this sentence with strength, because it is already the beginning of a new energy being activated in your life. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take advantage of it now. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because together we will continue to unravel the mysteries of spirituality and bring light to these topics that are often ignored, but that have the real power to transform our reality.